Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,
All right, everybody, we are back 2 whole weeks in a row without disaster happening. I am Ross.
I'm Saul.
Whoa, that was...
I'm sorry.
I don't know, that was just like your broken voice, or...
That's my broken voice.
Oh, man. How's your week been?
My week. It's been alright. It hasn't been, yeah. Nothing I can blame my... Other than my voice that you can hear.
Yeah, what can you do? Yeah, mine's been pretty straightforward. Man, it has been cold here.
Yeah, it has been cold. Yeah.
I had to let the dogs out before the show started, and I think it was 8 degrees here. That is Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So, feel free to do your conversion. It's below 0 in the Celsius world.
Well, it's wintertime, so it's supposed to be cold.
I'll be honest, I really didn't mind 60-degree winter, since we're not getting snow.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't mind it because I had COVID. So going outside and letting the dogs out, it wasn't that bad. So.
Well, you also had a fever for like a month straight. So.
So I'll agree with you. The 60-degree Christmas wasn't that bad. So,
yeah. Oh man. Well, let's see. I think we're trying to be efficient this week. So,
yes.
Do you want to just jump into stuff?
Yeah, we could talk about the lesser stuff and then talk about wrestling.
Okay, we'll do that. We are going to do some TV stuff to kick us off here. Mostly non-spoiler Book of Boba Fett discussion real quick. I've only seen the first episode, so I am definitely behind. So even if I spoil something, it's only going to be the first episode. I might try to catch up this weekend. And then you were telling me about a show, I didn't even know this existed, 1883, which is a country, well, not a country, but like a Western type deal. Yes. So
it's a country band thing.
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to bumper us in there just a sec.
Something that could never, ever possibly destroy us. Mr. Stay Puft.
You chose poorly. You have chosen wisely.
All right. So, Book of Boba Fett. Now, I will speak to the first episode. It was fine. Like,
yeah.
I think that just looking at it, and I've heard different opinions. Like, my brother's been watching it, and he seems to like it. But even I think he said at one point, he was like, "Oh, they did something that people are going to dislike." And I laughed, and I was like, "Well, that's literally anything." Because you're going to have Star Wars fans, wrestling fans, they're all the worst. So, but, like, yeah, the first episode was good, but yeah, it's like, there's so much hype for it, basically.
Oh.
Like, that's such an unfleshed out character that they're giving people what they want, but I mean, really, if you look at where he was in the Star Wars movies, there's really not he's not getting a lot of character development.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Like, for sure. So you gotta, like, now there's books that kind of do it, but I'm gonna assume there's a lot of people who don't read any of the books, and then Disney made some of the books not canon and some of them are, so
yeah, you
got to fill them in with something. So now they're doing what they're doing, and it's, people have idealized, I think, Mr. Fett, and now when that's not matching up, people are going to be unhappy.
Well, it was neat to see how he got out of the pit, right? And because you kind of, I mean, a lot of the story was told with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
When he catches up with the Mandalorian, gets his armor back. So it was neat to see how he got on that journey, I guess.
Yeah, because the Tusken Raiders, So this is slightly what's going on in the first episode, but like real high level. Like from The Mandalorian, you know that he was hanging out with the Tusken Raiders. They go into a little bit more of how he became friendly with them, like that backstory.
How he changes his. Because I was telling my wife this. The Boba Fett that's in this series, it's not the Boba Fett that turned in Hans to Darth Vader. It's a totally different character.
Yeah, like he's
changed.
Maybe became more. I'm gonna say human. I don't know. You know, like like a different outlook on life, perhaps.
Yeah.
So, which was some of the things he does in the first episode. You're like, oh, my impression of Boba Fett is he would have just killed this person, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, again, total screen time of Boba Fett's like a couple minutes.
Sure.
Like, you're just trying, like, it's basically him being hyped up as like a ruthless bounty hunter. So then, excuse me, you're seeing something a little bit different there. But so you're further in than me. Like, you're current. Are you enjoying it though?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. Like I said, I have a problem with the Raiders kind of being sympathetic good guys.
Yeah, like because you're seeing it from their side.
Yeah, because I've always known them as bad guys. So it's just weird how they changed it up a little bit. But yeah, well, I mean, I've enjoyed it.
They even did that, man. Like, so this is slightly Mandalorian spoilery, but yeah, I gotta assume that you've probably seen that if you care about Book of Boba Fett to some degree. Is even old Mando basically was like, yeah, you just gotta talk to him. Like when they were crossing, he's like, they're not that hard to deal with. You just got to be fair, kind of thing.
It's true.
And then I mean, they had already set the groundwork that it was. I mean, look at the people.
Vicious savages type thing.
Yeah, I mean, you had Obi-Wan, who was a Jedi, who.
Yeah.
Jedis are hypocrites, basically, because there's no absolutes, and then everything they talk about, they talk about it as an absolute. So they didn't like the Tusken Raiders. The Empire didn't. I mean,
well, Anakin, he definitely didn't like him. So,
well, yeah, I mean, he had a pretty good reason. But if we're looking at his moral character, he's got some flaws there as well.
Sure.
But the Empire had it, like, they didn't really seem to care for the Raiders, and again, they didn't care for anybody. So, maybe again, like. They also, other than just like taking pot shots at pod racers, which honestly, could you imagine? So, think about this: you're living in your house, minding your own business. Say there's less neighbors around, but maybe there's one or two. You just, you have your nice house. All you want to really do is be left alone and go scavenge for food every couple days. Maybe dig some water out of the desert and whatever it is, and. All of a sudden, there's these super starfighter jet-powered pods racing around, crashing into your home.
Yeah.
You'd be pretty mad about that, too.
Sure.
If you had crazy, weird rifle things, you might start taking shots at them. And then when you shoot one of the more annoying ones, you'd probably cheer about it. So, it's possible that they're genuinely just misunderstood.
Maybe.
So,
do you think this actor that plays Boba Fett ever thought he would have been in a series about Boba Fett, especially since Jango gets his head cut off by Mace, and then well, actually no, because he wasn't the original Boba Fett, so yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he was Jango Fett, and then they cloned him.
No, I'm talking about the actor.
Oh, yeah, no, he did not de-age himself. Although that would have been quite the trick.
Yes.
And then we'd be having the discussion about how did they not cast this guy for more movies with that ability? That's amazing.
Yes. I'm talking about the original actor that played Boba Fett back in the '60s. So
I could see
or '70s
where when they first brought him the role of Jango Fett.
Yeah.
They're like, we might do something with Boba Fett, with the way this story is made,
Yeah.
would you have an interest in that? And then, you know, he probably was like, oh yeah, I would be interested in that.
Sure.
And then after a decade, I'm sure it was like, oh, that's never happening. Time to move on. And now there's talk about him being like some of the other various clone troopers.
Yeah.
I guess like
That's true.
Rex.
That's true because I mean he could be all the clone troopers. I never even thought about that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like anyone, like, because I saw some report that they were talking about that, and it's like,
Let's see how good your acting really is.
well, I mean, the thing is, he just has to be the same character basically with just different like alignment almost. Like, well,
I mean, you gotta do different personalities though.
just slightly though. I mean, it's still shades of the same person.
Sure.
So, yeah, I
never
wonder
really
if
thought
he's
about
just
that.
like I don't know if the guy is like married or has a family or something, but he was like, yeah, I honestly didn't like. They talked about it as a possibility of me being like Boba Fett. He was like, I didn't realize that this would turn into me being in everything in the Star Wars universe from now till the end of time.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't even thought about that. Yeah.
But I mean, the bit that I've seen, like from the Mandalorian season and then like the first episode, like I think he does an okay job in the role. Obviously, he's a little more beefy than your original Boba Fett, who was, you know, who was sickly at best from a size standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, no, I'm. So do you still find it jarring that he has like the freshly painted armor?
No.
Okay.
That's what I would do too.
Right.
Yeah, repaint it.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. It's just I'm so used to like the super battle worn armor that it is.
Oh yeah, it's like
it.
so. Why didn't he do anything with his armor back in the day? With when he was hunting down Holland, did he just not have time to paint it or something?
I mean, maybe him painting it was like a fresh start,
Sure.
kind of thing. Maybe he was like, oh, I definitely need to be different. But
Sure.
Still capable of being absolutely ruthlessly efficient.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited. Like, I hope it does good. I hope that like I'm not in the camp that like finds something that breaks it for me that I just can't deal with.
Well, So I'm on the 4th episode, and so far the 4th episode. I mean, yeah, they're still doing a good job with it. So.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like the long form TV shows are the way to go.
So I'm on the IMBD website. It says why Boba Fett wants revenge on Mace Windu. Well, that can't happen. Anakin cut his arms off, so Mace Windu's dead. So I don't know how he can get revenge on Mace.
I mean, wasn't there something? Hold on, I'm gonna have to look something up real quick. What I'm looking up, I saw something at one point like Mace Windu still alive.
Yeah.
I love the first thing that comes up is Mace Windu was killed. Okay, spoilers, by the way. Mace Windu was killed by Chancellor Palpatine in the Chancellor's office in Episode 3 of Star Wars. He was assisted by Anakin in Mace Windu's death. However, the actor who played Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson, is still very much alive. Well, thanks.
Well, yeah, because Anakin cut off both his arms or hands or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he's dead. I did not know there was actually a theory at one point that Snoke was Mace Windu.
That would have been a better story than what we got, yes.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Don't get me started on the
And
new
this
Star
thing
Wars.
says that basically Star Wars has established that you can't fall to your death. So because Mace Windu fell supposedly to his death, that means he's actually still alive.
Well, apparently you can't lose your lightsaber from a fall either, because they refined it somehow. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
can see
you
it.
just kind of like figure out where it is generally, and you just kind of put your hand out and do the force thing, like whatever whatever verb that is, forcing, perhaps.
Sure.
So there was another show you had told me about, or was there anything else? Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to hit on the Book of Boba Fett or Star Wars?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's a totally different character, like I said, than what he is in the movies, because of his time with the Raiders. So
yeah. Well, and also, I mean, his time in the movie was basically standing there.
Not the football team Raiders, the Raiders.
Well, I mean, so one day when Disney buys the NFL,
yeah,
are the Las Vegas Raiders going to get like a logo change to be Tusken Raiders? Like everything's just going to become.
We need to talk about that for this a little bit. It's weird to call them the Las Vegas Raiders.
It does not roll off the tongue very well.
Yes.
Considering it's very close to Los Angeles, like name cadence wise, like Las Vegas, Los Angeles. But yeah, it just seems super weird.
Yes.
Okay, so 1883. I got the IMDb page up here, and it says it follows the Dutton family on a journey west through the Great Plains towards the last bastion of uncolonized America.
Yes.
So it looks like is it on the first season?
Yes.
So season 1, it's up to episode. So it's supposed to have 11 episodes.
Yeah, I think it's like on par with Boba Fett. I think there's only been like 4 or 5 episodes.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here. So you can check out the trailer, but yeah, it's definitely like cowboy western looking.
Oh, it's very cowboyish, yes.
Okay.
It's so what it is. Yellowstone, the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I watched, I think maybe 1 episode of that. I couldn't get into it, so maybe I'll rewatch it. I don't know, but it's basically a prequel to how that family got all their wealth.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. So I watched, I think, 3 episodes of 1883. It is depressing as hell. So if you're looking for an uplifting show, don't watch this thing because it's not going to give it to you.
So is this one of those things that if they do like 3 or 4 seasons of it and you were to binge watch it, that you'd probably need to take some medication?
Oh, you had to watch some kind of funny TV show in between or something, because I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, this thing is depressing.
That is why I just like big fan of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I haven't been able to rewatch it because I just remember being depressed as a result.
Sure.
But yeah, so cast wise, you got Sam Elliott, who is he like one of the most typecast cowboy people on Earth?
Yeah, I think he just went with it.
Yeah,
I think he's like,
which is fine because he was. I'm pretty sure he was the dad in The Ranch on Netflix. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I know what you're talking about.
It's actually a really it's funny when it's funny.
Yeah.
But when it's not funny, it's kind of depressing in a way. Gotcha. His character is like the over the top stereotypical manly man rancher kind of deal.
Sure.
With some little things thrown in here, but his reaction to like more modern stuff is hilarious most of the time.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
But yeah, like every time I see him in something, he's some kind of like rugged cowboy rancher type dude. You got Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and then Isabel May.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Isabel May.
Me neither.
That I know of. Let's see.
You got Billy Bob Thornton in there. He does a guest star. There's a couple other guest stars that's in it too.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Oh, Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was in it.
What?
Or Tom Hanks was in it for like 5 minutes, and my wife was like, "Is that Tom Hanks?" I was like, "There's no way they're gonna get Tom Hanks to do this." I mean, because it's a very minor role.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a Union general.
Huh.
That's talking to Tim McGraw's character. I was like, did he just stumble across the set that day? Hey,
like,
do you want to do this?
Hey, Mr. Hanks, we could give you a role. Hey, Tim, I'm sorry about the bad news, but you just lost your role. What? Be like, well, it's Tom Hanks. I'm like, oh, I mean, to be fair, that's fine.
Yeah,
like,
it's weird. So yeah, Tom Hanks is in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm looking at like what they have listed as the top cast, and I don't really recognize a lot of people. To be fair, I don't recognize a lot of actors in anything because I'm just not.
Yeah,
that's not one of my things that I really get into.
I think one of my problems I have with the show is Tim McGraw's in it, and he does an all right job with it.
Yeah,
but he's anti-gun, and I have no problem if you're.
Yeah,
I have no problem if you're anti-gun, but don't be in a show based around guns in a western. Like Sigourney Weaver is anti-gun, but she refuses to be in a movie with guns. So
right.
I respect that. So.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I mean, maybe if he had the logic, like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a way you could justify it to maybe make it make sense. Short of, well, they're giving me $3 million, so guns are all right for now.
And his character uses his gun a lot, so I don't know.
Is he like a villain type character?
No, he might be a villain. I don't know anything about the family, the Duttons.
Yeah, but
he's basically Kevin Costner's great grandfather, I guess.
So he's the guy who invented baseball.
yes. Okay. He's the one that's going to help build the Field of Dreams. Yes.
So it's funny. Man. So I'm just looking so I searched 1883, and one of the things that come up is like the people also ask kind of thing, is 1883 a true story? Well, 1883 may seem like a tale as old as time. The Westward Expansion inspired show is fiction.
Yes.
The majority of the characters are fictional.
People are weird that they think. Like, I saw the same thing about Westworld. Is Westworld real?
No.
No,
you would have heard about it. At a minimum, you would have heard about how awesome this place is that you'll never be able to afford to go to.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
So, I mean, if you like Westerns and you want to be depressed, I don't know.
Or if you're just having too good of a day, this might be the show to cure you of it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I thought it was very depressing. My wife likes it, so I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe because we both have some mental health here and there. Maybe we're more sensitive to super depressing situations where we're like, oh man, this is awful, and then you just feel bad for the characters, which I think is the intent, but maybe we're just overly empathetic, and that's the problem.
Well, this is one episode, and the whole episode, because the whole point of so far of the show is he's trying to take a bunch of German immigrants up north.
Yeah,
and they don't know anything. Okay,
so they're bringing them to Cincinnati, right?
It could be, but they don't know anything. So this one episode, Sam Elliott's character's do not drink water straight from the rivers; it will make you sick. You got to boil your water. And this one scene, these German immigrants are just slurping down the water from the rivers. And then they all start getting what was it called? Basically, they just get really sick because they have all the parasites. And Sam Elliott's character's well, I warned them. And there's this, you just see all of them oh, whoa, and just throwing up, and I'm this is depressing.
Just having a bad time.
No, granted, they're showing what would really happen.
Yeah.
If you did that, but I don't know.
All right.
So now we can talk about the other Westworld if you want.
I really enjoyed season 1 of Westworld.
Yes.
And then I just had no interest after that. It was that was good. And like you were saying, well, they got rid of Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
And my thought is that, one, he's getting kind of older, but I think your idea might be right. I'm going to assume Anthony Hopkins is fairly expensive.
Yes, I think that's what happened.
The,
Because season 2, they went to Japan.
yeah, like Samurai World or something.
Yeah, which was weird.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think this. I don't think they know what to do with the storyline.
It seems like they could have stretched out season 1 into 2 seasons and had a complete story, but
but I think the show's still going on, which I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of shows where I'll watch like a season or two, and then I just kind of am done with it. Where it's like, oh, like I think my brain, because I often have criticisms of how shows end.
Yes.
And it was like, you know what? This would be an excellent ending point. We're just going to pretend it doesn't exist.
The only TV show that I have ever watched that's ended perfectly is The Office.
Yeah.
It's the only TV show that I think I've ever watched that's ended perfectly.
I was okay with Breaking Bad's ending.
Yeah.
I wish I had watched Game of Thrones so I could be like, well, I thought Game of Thrones ended really good, and try to like seriously play that role. But
Game of Thrones people will know what I'm saying. The show died when Stannis died. So
I just know they did a lot of wrong in that show towards the end, because I'll see where they compare it to like other stuff.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones I saw was like, I think they compared it to like Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, that's a really ridiculous situation. And they're like, and like people would be like, no, that's pretty close to how dumb the final season was.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Let's see, trying to see if there's any any curious or I'd have to look for it. Maybe I'll do that for a future episode. I'll find all the funny comparisons of season 8 Game of Thrones to like other TV shows. It's like, oh, you know, this character that was really interested in saving this, and they decided to kill everybody instead. They got too much work.
It's like they didn't even watch their own show, because they did season 8. The characters were like, well, why would the character do that? Season 6 character, yeah. So yeah.
Well, there was one thing I saw where it was like, oh, if you take a look at this show, you'll notice that there's not a Starbucks cup sitting on the set. That's because the people actually gave a crap.
Sure.
All right. Do you want to move on? Because I don't have anything worth talking about as far as video games go.
Not really. Yeah.
I played a bunch of Hearthstone. Well,
the new expansion. Well, we already talked about that. The new expansion.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we could mention. We'll just mention it here real quick. Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, or is in the process of. Mm-hmm. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the video game news this week. We'll go to wrestling now. I'm gonna bumper us along the way. Sorry, I'm having to find the button because things readjusted on my Stream Deck. Here we go.
Well, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue pants.
This is a revolution.
All right. So we have some. We'll go over like AEW for sure. Did you see where Mustafa Ali has requested his release from WWE, but they are not going to give it to him?
No, but does not surprise me, and it doesn't surprise me that they're not going to release them. So,
yeah, it's
you get released when we release you.
Yeah, well, or they're just going to wait till they do the next round. But if they do like another round of releases for budget cuts, and then don't let him go, that makes them look really crappy, right? Like, where it's like you have someone
yes.
You have someone who doesn't want to be there, but you're going to keep him and get rid of someone who does want to be there.
I can see WWE doing that.
Yeah. No, I guess if you go by like past stories, because like Brody Lee publicly asked for his release, and they didn't give it to him, I guess because they didn't want this set the precedent that you could do it that way. So that's why they made him wait. So, I mean, it could be they're still sticking to that, where if you publicly ask for it, they don't want. Now, the other thing would be, though, so are you so afraid that if you give, like in this case, Mustafa Ali, you give him his release, that all of a sudden, like, half your roster is going to ask for the release? Is that what you're afraid of?
See,
because it's a privilege to work for WWE.
You would think that they kind of want to stay in WWE now, because AEW is so full of people.
Well, I think
Impact is Impact.
Yeah. Well, I think
Ring of Honor is gone.
I think jumping around to like GCW or Impact or a lot of the like independent stuff and appearance things.
Yeah.
If you're decent, because remember, like when Cody left, he wasn't quite what we know Cody as now, but I remember him saying like he was making more money doing like the tour he was doing of independent stuff than he had in WWE. So I would imagine if you have like a decent name for yourself, and I mean you might be doing a little more hustling than you are accustomed to the last little while you're with WWE, I'm thinking you could probably do comparatively well for yourself.
Yeah, could be.
Like I want to like Mustafa Ali. Like he's good in the ring. He looks like an athletic guy. He just keeps getting dumb stuff like, "Oh, you're gonna lead Retribution." Like, well, if that's not a death sentence, I don't know what is. Because that whole thing was a complete joke.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, Rumble I think is next week. Are you gonna watch that?
Oh yeah, probably. Just because I like the Rumble. Even though they ruined their surprises.
I don't know what I think about that, because so like AEW has talked about where like they did like Sting as like the surprise debut, and the TBS or Turner Broadcasting or Warner Media, somebody, they're like, hey, we kind of don't like that because we'd really prefer for something that big to be able to promote it.
Hey, but this is not a TV show. You can't do that in wrestling.
Well, right. But, like, I get, like, because they were like, oh, Moxley's going to be back in advance. Yeah. Or they kind of sort of let you know CM Punk was going to be there.
Sure. The worst kept secret. Yeah.
Right. But, like, the thing is, like, for the Rumble, that's their live premium event. I got the lingo down. I learned. Sure. I got a memo from Mr. McMahon that I could not say pay-per-view about WWE products anymore. He DM'd me on Twitter. How funny would that be if that was true?
Hey, Pally.
Like, for some reason, Vince McMahon decided he's like, I'm going to see what this button does. What is this?
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, maybe they want people to know who's going to be there to try to increase like the sign-up rate or engagement or whatever it is they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
saw that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna, like, I personally like the surprises.
Sure.
Like, if I'm gonna watch the Royal Rumble, I'm not gonna not watch it. Like,
sure.
I can't imagine. Like, the whole point is hoping that there's a few surprise people here and there. So it doesn't seem like announcing the people, like maybe the Bellas, because I could see where that's going to appeal to a very specific audience, so I could see announcing them. But some of the other stuff, it just doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal to announce them, and you're killing the surprise.
Well, I thought there was maybe a slight possibility for an AEW star to come, but I don't know. AEW and WWE's been taking pot shots at each other. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, where WWD did the gory self-mutilation statement.
So I don't think that relationship is all that healthy.
Well, it's funny because was it like a year ago where Seth Rollins gouged out Rey Mysterio's eye?
Sure.
Was going around doing that. I mean,
they kind of said something about John Moxley saying the F word. And I'm thinking, I know I've heard the F word used by. I thought Vince McMahon did it to Shane a couple of years ago.
Well, I mean, you'll pick up stuff like that from time to time. Like, someone gets hurt or something and they say that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there was someone who said something, surprisingly enough, Moxley did that in WWE early on when he was Ambrose, when he won the U.S. title.
Sure.
And he was like, F yeah, or something.
Yeah.
And he did not realize that was going to be on camera the way that it was. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the other night on SmackDown, they were making a reference to the Shield between Seth and Roman, and he just referred to him very casually as Mox, like in the middle of a sentence. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it absolutely made sense that he would have to mention him for the way that promo was going.
Well, this is how WWE. I don't like how WWE makes it where like there's no other wrestling. It's just them.
Well, I think that's why like people actually reacted, like, because he didn't like say it like waiting for a pop from the crowd or anything, which you wouldn't know if the crowd. Because I rewatched that segment because I was like, oh, let's see how that actually was done, and it wasn't like where he did the pause after it. He just kind of matter-of-factly mentioned it, but the crowd could have like set the building on fire, and I wouldn't have known because they had a hairdryer next to all the microphones or something. Holy moly! Like every time I check out something, like what they're doing with crowd noise is worse and worse.
But they've always done it.
I guess
if you watch the old stuff, it was so heavily filtered in.
I guess, and just maybe it wasn't as noticeable until the pandemic. I mean, I remember people were like, I think they did something a little bit here, but you at least had some people in the crowd that were engaged. Now people are just standing there with their arms crossed or looking at their phone, and it sounds like Triple H coming back from his quad tear.
Watch old AEW. Watch old 80s WWE.
Yeah.
It's filtered in. It's filtered in, yeah.
And maybe like we're more sensitive to it too, because like we were watching during, we were in high school watching it for WCW, like the Monday Night Wars thing. Well,
they didn't
crowd
there
was
so
absolutely
many people.
insane. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, when Raw is selling out like a 20,000 seat arena regularly.
Sure.
For just a Raw, like it's funny.
Well, it's amazing that WCW was selling it out towards the end. I'm like, really? That was some terrible wrestling. So
I mean, it was still it. Like it was still just people liked it. But yeah, so I guess the other news, and this goes with Dynamite pretty good actually. So we can kind of just jump into that. Moxley comes back. So apparently, John Moxley has lost about 30 pounds.
He looks light.
He's definitely very lean. Now, when we see him on Rampage, like he's still muscular, so it's not like he just lost all his mass. But if he actually did have like a drinking problem, that's an awful lot of calories. So
yes.
And truthfully, like even without that, like he was definitely big for his frame and still muscular. That's a lot of eating to maintain that kind of size if you're just not naturally that big.
Sure.
So hopefully that makes his life easier. But yeah, so he shows up and like he basically kind of says that, he had a dark cloud over him because he had, I assume, an addiction, or it might not have been a full-on addiction, but he saw he was going that way or something like that. And basically just like metaphorically tells people what was going on and how he wasn't going to let that stop him and he was going to overcome it and all that. And it was a very, like I was watching and I was like, this is really good, but this is really weird at the same time. Because I think you knew what he was talking, like if you didn't know what he was talking about, I don't know if that promo makes any sense.
Sure.
Other than like he was super into it. Also, he's a vampire now who drinks blood. I don't know if becoming a vampire, gets rid of whatever problems you have.
I thought it was weird that if you have a drinking problem and you say, I'm thirsty, I'm like, well, people are going to associate that you're thirsty for beer.
Because as he pointed out at the end, he's a vampire. So he now has a thirst for blood.
Yes.
At least until proven otherwise, that's how I'm taking it. So
Sure.
I look forward to my Count Moxley vampire action figure, exclusive on Ringside Collectible.
Yes.
Now, something it's hilarious to me about this is, so Bubba Ray Dudley has his like radio show or whatever, and has decided that he thinks Moxley screwed up this promo by not apologizing to the fans for his absence, basically.
It's not Bubba Ray, it's Bully Ray. He don't have the rights to call himself Bubba.
Yeah, he doesn't like Bubba Ray, though, so I'm going with Bubba Ray. Because he has had some, like, dumb takes, but I don't even understand this one. Like, pretty much every fan knew what was going on. Like, he came out and basically had Tony Khan tell people, like, hey, he's going to rehab. Definitely didn't know us that because it's his personal life. He came back and basically kind of talked about what was going on without directly saying it, and was nice and kept it short and didn't go 20 minutes of a promo. I'm sure they would have let him if he wanted to. But he doesn't need to say, oh, I'm sorry I left. Like, yeah, you should be sorry. I wish you would have, like, ruined your life for my entertainment. Like, I don't know what your people would have expected. But yeah, so that led to people constantly tagging Bubba Ray and apologizing to him. And I had commented, like, because I was looking through the Reddit thread for it because I thought it was funny, because I guess Paige kind of said something, and my thought was, I was like, I hope in 2 years from now in the wrestling world there's people who are new to watching wrestling, and every so often it'll pop up like, why is it that everyone apologizes to Bubba Ray Dudley for everything?
Sure.
Because they have no idea about this moment, and people will have to explain this particular moment and how dumb it was. So now it's a thing to just apologize to him constantly.
Yes.
For just whatever it is. Like, I spilled the milk in the kitchen. I'm sorry, Bully Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Whatever. But, so, now you were saying you didn't actually watch all of Dynamite or any of it this week?
I don't think I watched any of it for some reason. I'm not.
Yeah, so it opened with, like, the Moxley return. Let me see. I'll kind of go through here, because it wasn't, like, the greatest episode, but it wasn't bad either. So you had, like,
I watched the highlights, so I understand.
Okay.
I saw the big things, but
yeah, there was, like, the little thing with, like, MJF and Wardlow furthering that thing, where he apologized to him, but now he's going to dock his pay or something.
Yeah.
Wardlow's going to, my assumption is MJF may not make it out of Cleveland alive.
The split is getting ready to happen.
It really feels like Punk is there to further their breakup, like to turn MJF.
It seems like he's, like, going to be a transition for Wardlow.
Yeah, because I'm assuming we're getting MJF and Punk at the pay-per-view, but I could almost see MJF and Wardlow at the pay-per-view at this point.
Sure. Or,
like, maybe Punk challenges MJF for Wardlow's contract or something. Like, something
That'd
weird.
Be weird. That'd be weird.
Like, yeah, but I mean, I could see where, like, I don't know that I'm going to say this as if wrestling is real. I don't know the terms of MJF and Wardlow's contract between each other.
Sure.
So,
sure.
But yeah, did you see any of the Orange Cassidy, Statlander versus Adam Cole and Britt Baker DMD?
I just saw the highlights of it.
It was pretty good. I mean, Adam Cole is real good. He didn't have a tan. It seemed like he seemed very pale.
I read a rumor about him. Yeah, it made me laugh. He's like, after I get done with the whole Orange Cassidy thing, he's like, I want to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
I just like, that's funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the best friends have lured him into
That's their vortex.
a street fight next week with Orange Cassidy. So someone's going to die. Because every time someone in that group gets to, like, a climax type match, it's always ultra violent. It's bizarre. Let me see. So skip past that. Santana and Ortiz are fed up with Jericho, it seems like. Were you excited about that?
Yeah, it's time to break up the inner circle. It's time to move on from that.
Yeah. I do like that they're
we don't do anything anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, at this point. Well, it is interesting, though, that it seems like it's going to end up being Jericho's fault after everything that the inner circle has done. Almost like his song talks about.
Yes.
I don't know if that's if that's it or not, but
well, I think Jericho's character needs a reboot anyway. So
yeah, I mean, he could disappear for a little bit and come back and do something different. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
So CM Punk absolutely obliterates Shawn Spears.
Yes.
I honestly thought this was going to be the time that MJF beat down Punk for a second, like he sneaks up behind him at one point, but no. Let's see. Cody Rhodes pulls out a ladder that could get you to the moon during picture-in-picture, and somehow by the end of this promo, the crowd is clearly much more on Cody's side than the booing Cody side.
Sure.
It was very weird. It was like, oh, I can't believe that worked.
I don't know where that. It was weird because I didn't know where he was going with it. Because I'm like, okay, so you're challenging Punk next?
I mean, that's fine. If we go with the possibility that MJF and Wardlow is actually the Revolution pay-per-view match,
yeah,
and then you get Cody and Punk for the TNT title, I'm okay with that. I think that'd be an excellent match.
Sure.
I think Punk would probably rein in Cody's 47 layers of stuff that people just can't figure out for the feud to make it a little more precise. But
well, if the goal is to make Cody a good guy, him going against Punk is definitely not going to help that cause.
No. But I do think you would get Punk with the TNT title out of that, and I think
Sure.
that would be fine.
Sure.
Yeah, the Jade Cargill and Anna Jay had a promo.
Okay.
It was all right. Whatever. We'll talk briefly about Rampage, but this I was like, I don't because I was definitely in the camp for their match being like, oh man, this could be a disaster on live TV. Poor Varsity Blondes. Yeah. I will say, Griff Garrison is definitely getting bigger, I assume from working out or eating. I mean, either way, he's filling out his remember how Alex Wright had really long legs, so he looked super awkward?
Yes.
I feel like poor Griff Garrison is in the same category, where unless he just starts spot injecting his quads, his legs are always going to make him look disproportioned somehow.
Well, Pillman, he told me, he just led me down a disappointing path because he's like, I'm going to be a different Pillman when he fought Malachi, and he's still the same Pillman. Boring.
Yeah, he's missing something because he looks good, his gear's good. His promos are hit and miss. But I mean, I think he'll get there. He's got plenty of time. Speaking of I do want to go back to something. Well, wait, maybe it was on Rampage. I don't know. Jungle Boy had a promo. Maybe it was on Rampage.
It was Rampage.
Yeah, where it actually was decent. Yeah, but
for Jungle Boy, yes.
Right. Okay, so Malachi Black and Brody King. They just obliterated these guys. I am really let down. Apparently Dante's Inferno is their finisher, where it's really just a super elaborate power slam with extra steps.
Yes.
Man, I feel like anything would be better. Like,
Yeah.
you know how Shawn Michaels and Triple H did, like, Shawn would do the super kick and they'd stagger into the pedigree?
Yeah.
You know what a really good move that naturally would make the person turn and face the other way is? The Black Mass.
Yes.
Like, it'd be very easy to make that work. And then
Yes.
literally, Brody King could do anything.
Sure.
Well, currently probably not a power bomb because there's an awful lot of power bomb variations going on. Like, we went from the great power bomb drought to the power bomb flood.
Yes.
Although I'm not going to complain, Wardlow has a very nice power bomb.
Sure.
And see, like, power bomb is like a perfect wrestling move.
Sure.
But yeah,
Which is weird that they got rid of it.
yeah. Well, I don't understand why. But yeah, so Pac's going to be back at some point.
Yes. That's some kind of mythological.
He's now Blind Justice. So
Yes.
he's like a Final Fantasy 14 character come to life.
Yes.
The Murder Hawk beats up Frankie Kazarian. That's a shame. We're definitely going to... And Mr. Jake the Snake was back.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he showed up in a promo. He's hanging out with Dan Lambert, though. So
Oh, God.
I don't know. I know Jake the Snake had COVID. Maybe he's trying to give it to Dan Lambert. I don't know. And get him off my TV.
See, yeah, this Dan. I'm sorry, Dan Lambert. I can't stand it.
He's good. Like, I don't know. Like, you can tell he's a wrestling fan. Like, he loves wrestling.
Sure.
He's actually good at talking. It's
Yeah.
just the direction they point him doesn't work for me personally.
Me wanting to turn off the TV is not a good, not a good thing.
Yeah, I just
so.
don't want to, like, I could see if he did, like, a certain thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's something he can do that'll be really good for me. But,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're in, like, the super minority. Because, like, the live crowds are ecstatic, like, when Jericho got a hold of him. Like, it was awesome. But,
I have a problem with the whole Murder Hawk Hangman thing, because I don't think they're going to do Murder Hawk right. I think they're going to make him lose.
yeah, I mean, clearly he's not going to win. Like, I would be shocked if he is the guy to beat Hangman in his technically second defense for the title.
But he should. He should. That would throw me like, wow, I didn't expect that.
I mean, if you want to kill Hangman forever, yeah, probably. Like,
Well, Hangman, I'm sorry, he's boring. He I don't know.
well, I mean, a random feud with Archer. I mean, I don't think that Archer is going to be the pay-per-view match that he has. I don't know who it's going to be, and I could be wrong, but I mean, they'll beat the crap out of each other in the ring, so that, I mean, it'll be entertaining. But
Sure.
and I mean, at the same time, depending on some of the other matches, it's going to be hard to beat some of those potential matches they might have. So we'll have to see. We got some other stuff that wasn't all that good. Serena D beat up on Sky Blue.
Yeah.
Ego Page challenged Moxley, which leads to Rampage.
Yeah.
In something that I don't even know how to care about, Matt Hardy has sold 51% of the Hardy family office to Andrade.
I was reading on Instagram. They're like, my God. They're like, do you guys not know how to use Andrade? He just bounces around. It's just weird.
Him not understanding friendship and trying to buy Darby Allin off Sting, I think is hilarious. Like,
It's just
because it's like
weird.
the most like $1 million man kind of thing possible. So maybe that's what they're going for, is they're going to oust, assuming that Jeff Hardy is going to show up briefly. This is clearly the way for a corporate takeover and to just beat the crap out of Matt Hardy.
Which is fine if he's going to be the next $1 million man type character. That's fine. Just give me some kind of direction. That's where you're going there.
Right. Well, I mean, to me, it feels like that's the way they're going.
Sure.
If you follow Jose the Assistant on Twitter,
Yeah.
it's actually worth it, because during this whole Sting thing, though, he'd constantly be like, well, how much do you want for Darby? Like, things like that, where it's just,
Yes.
like, I think that's that, like, it's funny, but at the same time, it works for me, where it's like, Andrade is just so unaware.
Yes. It's called friendship, Andrade. I do not know this thing.
Yeah. But speaking of that, so we got Sting and Darby Allin, although mostly Sting, against the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
And again, like, this isn't like match of the year, or this isn't going to change your life if you're a wrestling fan. But Sting looked really good in this as well. I don't know that he needed. Did you see where he dives off the stage?
Yeah, that's all.
Through the, like, I don't want to see Sting get hurt, but that was amazing, because it looked like a really big jump.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, look how winded he is." I'm like, "Well, some of that might be because he's acting, but I mean, he's 61 years old, so I mean, he probably might be winded."
Yeah. I mean, like, because even CM Punk said, like, when he's training, it's not like he's taking a bunch of bumps because he's old. Like, I'm sure Sting's not like. Now, I did read when he was eating the power bombs or whatever from Brian Cage, they'd actually, like, kind of practiced it.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, Cage probably looked a little bit gentle with him, but
I did like how the Acclaim did talk about the buckle buster.
Yeah, buckle bomb.
And the buckle bomb and one of their raps. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, they did the going through a goth phase thing, and the amount of people I saw where they're like, it wasn't like the greatest thing ever, but the hook to the song is just stuck in my head constantly.
Sure.
I was excited because they talked about, like, the coffin drop and a hospital flip, which is like a skateboard trick. And I was like, oh, I see what they did there. That's fantastic. I was like, there's probably a very small audience that was directed to, but I liked it. But yeah, like, what they do, like, their diss track on Sting and Darby, I thought was hilarious.
Sure.
Because it really wasn't too far from the truth.
Sure.
But yeah, so they took out, like, Darby in the beginning, and it was kind of scary because he had to get that chair off his head as he was falling.
Sure.
And I was like, I hope he did. And then they showed it from another angle, and I was like, okay, he's fine. But that's one of those ones where it's like, that seems moderately simple, but I could see it going wrong.
People don't like the Acclaim, and I can see why they're kind of annoying to some people, but they're heels. They want you to hate them. So
I will say, so initially, like, it felt like Max Caster had, like, all the charisma in the group. I feel like Bowens is really finding his groove as, like, hype man or whatever to him.
Sure.
Like, because Bowens is, like, there was a singles match he had, and I was like, I did not realize how good he was.
Sure.
So, and I don't know if I just hadn't noticed it because I kind of wrote him off. Like, I still have the WWE trauma of I look at everyone as Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, and only one of them is going to survive.
Whoever the mouthpiece is, that's who you're going to get. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that's still my expectations. I know better, but it's hard not to fall into that because that's what I've seen for 20 years. So, you know, like, tag teams being able to just exist and not constantly be like, oh, they're going to break up. Like, it's still kind of hard. Okay. So Rampage, Moxley comes back, has his match with Ethan Page. What do you think of that?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much knew that Moxley was winning.
Yes.
Like, it didn't seem like they were going to go down like, oh, he's totally out of it and couldn't beat Ethan Page. Maybe like a 1% chance that I thought he might lose. Did you catch where Page had him, like, over the ropes facing the camera and was punching him in the side of the head?
Yes.
Were those real?
It seemed like it.
Like, I couldn't tell if the way he had his hand positioned, he was hitting that, and like they just had to time it right. But those were like, I've seen people get punched for real that didn't look as convincing as those. And I have a hard time like, if that was like 1 or 2 shots, I could see where Moxley would be like, yeah, just sock me, make it real good. But that was like,
apologize later, brother. Go ahead, do it.
yeah, but that was like a series of just like rough shots. So I don't know if like the trick is he had his hand like high up on the jaw and was punching into that, and it makes it not as bad. If Moxley's just a maniac and was like, just do it. Someone said they could almost hear, because that whole DC arena, I don't know if the acoustics in there are weird, but like the ring and the crowd were like super loud.
Yeah,
they're like, I could have swore I heard Moxley say, "Oh, that was great," or something like that, like after the punches. So,
I like it. Do it again. Do it again.
Yeah, but they let Page get like the pass out as opposed to tap out thing. And like once he had that choke in, like it felt like it was a lot closer than a lot of times to like real life, where he'd be able to struggle for like a second or two, but then he's out. As opposed to, struggling against it for like 3 minutes. But yeah, Moxley leaner. I did like that they a couple times had Page like manhandle him, which he probably wouldn't have been able to do previously. And then Taz kind of covered that on commentary. Finding yourself like in a lighter body or whatever. Maybe Ricky Starks mentioned it, or Jericho. Jericho was less
annoying.
Yeah, he's dialed it back enough where like I can handle him at this level. It's much better.
Yes.
But yeah, so on the way out, you get Moxley looking at Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson. Dude, it's so hard. I think it was Regal who suggested just switching the name. I really wish they wouldn't have done that, because my brain is absolutely broken.
That's his real name, right? Bryan Danielson?
I think so.
Yeah.
His actual name is Danielson Bryan.
Yes.
Yeah, but so you get them. So apparently we're still going to get that match at some point. Sure. Which will be, I'm going to assume, really good.
Yep.
Trent, your boy, fought Nick Jackson.
Yeah.
Nick Jackson did Nick Jackson stuff. Trent did Trent
I assume
stuff.
Because Matt. No, Nick. No, Matt. I'm assuming Matt is still
No, actually, Rocky got COVID.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he said. I think he said it on Twitter or something, or he posted it somewhere. He was like, "Yeah, I got hit with it."
Sure.
So we'll have to wait on Roppongi Vice. I like, so when I was getting like Wrestle Kingdoms and trying to follow New Japan, I always hated that name because it's hard to say.
Sure.
So Hook versus Serpentico, exactly what you thought it would be.
Sure.
If anyone thought that Serpentico was going to beat Hook, I'm very sorry that did not even come close to happening.
I like how Hook is feuding with the Nightmare Factory. I guess give them something to do.
Well, give them something to do. Him beating them makes him beloved.
Yeah.
So I kind of think what's going to happen is Starks and Hobbs are going to turn on Hook because he's getting all the popularity. At some, like, this WWE, or this is AEW, so around 2035.
Yes.
When they turn on Hook, you're going to have Hook and Taz as the good guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the plan initially, but I'd have to think that that's the plan now, right?
I guess, yeah.
Like somewhere down the line. Or maybe they turn on Ricky Starks and then they take the belt from him. Like, I don't know. There's going to be something, but it's going to be hard to not have Hook be cheered for quite a while.
Sure.
And him feuding with the Nightmare Factory, like you said, that keeps him out of like any big time matches.
Yeah.
To just give him time to,
I would let him feud with them for like a year. That way he's fighting the lower card guys.
Well, like he can do them. He can do the Wingmen. If you're looking at like the heel side, like some point along the way, give him a TNT title shot and see how that goes. Like as a big match. But I mean, eventually he's going to lose to somebody. I don't know if you hold off and let him get a TNT title shot, and like it's clearly a step above on the competition, and play up the like inexperience thing, kind of getting him. But like they're leaning real heavy into like his judo and the other stuff that he's done. So maybe you don't want to play it as like I don't know how they're going to do it, but or maybe he just gets too big for his britches and he challenges someone like Mox and just gets dropped on his head. Where he's like, oh, I still got a ways to go, kind of thing. Sure. But yeah, I mean that made everybody happy though, and honestly, seeing QT get dumped on his head, it's going to be a long time before that doesn't get cheered.
Sure.
All right, so main event, you got Anna Jay and Jade, TBS title. So I was really worried. Worried's not the right word, but I was hoping, just because I don't like to see people have really bad days, I was hoping this wasn't going to just become a disaster, because they're fairly new. I think I read somewhere that they've had like less than 80 matches combined.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's not a lot of matches, but not.
I mean, you must have a lot of confidence in them, I guess.
I mean, they clearly did. I mean, technically, if you want to be like a real buzzkill about it, like the first match on Rampage is really the main event, just because of the time frame. But it's still, this is the final match. This is what you would consider the main event of the show. We got Mark Henry doing his thing, but yeah, they come out, and just overall, I thought the match was really good. Like, if I had zero expectations, like if I didn't know anything about it and I just saw this match, I'd be like, it was pretty good. There were a couple things here and there that were, like there's a corner spot where Anna was trying to get the choke in on Jade that it just took a little bit long. Like something was a little bit off there. Yeah. But again, like you'll see that with a lot of matches where if you're really looking for it, you can kind of tell. Some people who have a lot more experience are a little bit better at covering those things up, but I don't think that ruined the match by any stretch.
Well, so the problem I have with Jade's character, or how they're introducing the Jade character, I guess, is they keep showing her daughter. Yeah, and that's a very not a heel thing. I mean, I'm not going to boo a little girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, are they going to turn her a good guy? So,
well, what if her daughter turns on her mom and like hits her with something?
Yeah, just like a 4-year-old right. Smacking her. Well, I don't know. It's just that's the
it makes you want to cheer her, or maybe not necessarily cheer, because she's still technically a bad guy and she's got Mark Sterling out there, but you still kind of want to root for her because she's doing it like kind of for her family kind of deal. Unless their intent is to have like some conflicted emotion.
Well, okay. Well, then they achieved it.
Right. Just to be like, I mean, it is showing like, kind of like when villains are doing things and then you find out why they're doing them. To where even though it's still wrong, maybe you understand it. Maybe that's and I'm willing to say that might actually be an intent. Or at least maybe it didn't start that way and they're like, oh yeah, that was a mistake. That makes her a good guy. All right, we gotta do something.
I don't see anybody on the women's roster pulling off that type of character.
Not well. Maybe Thunder Rosa.
Maybe because she has a daughter too. But I don't. Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be like super nuanced. So, and it could just be that they're just like, you know what? If that makes people want to root for her, that's fine by us. Because eventually she's going to be a good guy at some point, assuming she continues to improve.
Regardless, she needs to get rid of the guy. But Mark Sterling, just get rid of him. I can't stand him. He's terrible.
He's awesome.
Just get rid of him.
It's funny because like on the Major Wrestling Brothers figure podcast or whatever, he's like just like super normal. Like he's how he really is, and he's not like the hyped up character.
Sure.
It's very jarring sometimes.
Sure.
But something I will say, I thought Anna Jay's striking was very good in this match. Like it looked like she was actually making contact and laying it in. They had that. So one of the things that I would say that I wish they wouldn't have done after seeing it, but it's completely ridiculous to not do it. So she went for Jade went for Jaded on Anna Jay. She did what looked like it was going to be kind of like that victory roll type thing, but then she kicked her Jade's legs out from and under her and got the choke in. That would have been perfect if Anna Jay was going to win the match, because like I've never seen that as a counter. I'm sure it's happened somewhere, but that was like that was a perfect. All of a sudden, she finally beats Jade kind of thing. But that's so good. I don't think you just hold that off to be like, well, maybe a year from now you'll be the one beating her in a match. We better hold that. Like it's silly not to do. Jade's pump kick is scary.
Yes.
They cut the camera, so maybe that thing totally whiffed. But the way Anna Jay ragdolled off the mat, I'll believe she just hit her with it.
It's like Tay's DDTs.
Yeah, where you're just like, I hope people are on board with just eating it. There's a good thing, like Anna Jay tried to do like the running J kick or whatever, and Jade caught her and like looked at her, kissed her on the cheek, and then just power bombed her.
Yes.
Like that was fantastic. Like, yeah, I mean, I would like to think that if Tony Khan was like, all right, I'm giving you guys the main event, please don't. I don't think he would have said it, but like in his mind, there had to be a moment of like, please don't make me look like an idiot for doing this. I think they did very good for the situation and the expectations.
Don't worry, I'll make myself look like an idiot on Twitter. Don't worry.
Yeah, be like, don't worry, I'll say something that I probably could have just not said and complicate my life for no reason. But
overall, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it being live helps too.
Yes,
for sure. I get that maybe it's not economical or reasonable to do Rampage live every week, but maybe if they get like, I would have to assume with the like they're doing okay on ratings. Hopefully they get an increase in revenue the next time TV stuff comes up.
Yeah. Maybe
they'll get enough money where they make Rampage live to justify making Rampage live.
Sure.
Because it's clearly better live than not.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Other than like WWE just doing WWE stuff. I mean, you got Jeff Jarrett is showing up places. Kevin Nash showed up somewhere. Wrestling is super weird right now.
Sure.
Still.
Which is good.
Yeah, I would much prefer that. Did you see you can pre-order on Ringside Collectible your Dark Order set now, including Mr. Brody Lee?
No, I didn't see that.
If you're interested, you might be able to just find him in the store when it finally makes it there. But I have pre-ordered 2 Mr. Brody Lee because I'm going to keep one of them in the package, and I'm going to open one of them and play with them. And then I also pre-ordered Stu because Nightfall is the greatest finisher on Earth, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
I did not order Evil Uno because I don't know how that vest is going to work as far as being a playable toy. I do not like that stuff. But yeah, so if you go to Ringside Collectible, they're currently on pre-order number 2. So the estimate is late March. I got in on the first day, so it's like February is the expectation for delivery. But Mr. Brody Lee, he's in the black and gray gear. He has the finished version of the TNT title.
Okay.
With the red strap, where if you got the Cody exclusive, it's the unfinished TNT title. And then Darby comes with the black one. I'm assuming you'll eventually get Miro with the Miro title.
Yes.
But yeah,
this title's pretty sweet.
I mean, overall, like Sammy's run felt kind of flat, but the TNT title has been a very good title so far.
Yeah.
I think the ladder match is going to help it, and then whatever goes from there. But yeah, so you can get that. Maybe I'll hang the one. So I got like a limited edition. They did like a art print of a painting of Mr. Brody Lee that the proceeds went to like the Huber Foundation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got bought one of those when it came out. It was only like $30 or something like that, but it's like a pretty cool painting. I might actually hang that on the wall like above my computer. Maybe I'll hang Mr. Brody next to it.
There you go.
But yeah, so you got anything else for the week, or?
Yeah, I think we're done. We rambled on too much.
Yeah,
and I got to use the restroom.
I mean, that's fair. So, all right. Well, we will get out of here, everybody. The plan is to be back next week.
Yes.
Hopefully all disasters and plagues have been averted. So
yes.
We will see you guys next week.
See you next week.